gentlemen, it is with great honor that we welcome His Excellency, the Commander-in-Chief, General, and First President of the United States of America, George Washington, and First Lady Martha Washington. This time I will proceed with the question and the answers, and I will ask George the questions. George, when and where were you first born?
I was born on the 22nd of February, 1732, on Pope's Creek Farm in Westmoreland County, Virginia. However, in colonial times, we used the Julian calendar, and that day was the 11th of February. 1732.
Do you have any brothers and sisters?
Yes. My father had 4 children to his first wife, Jane Butler, but she died in 1729. My father married Mary Ball and had 6 children. It was Betty, Samuel, John Augustine, Charles, Mildred, and of course myself.
Do you know any of your family history?
Yes. I come from an old colonial family. We believe in hard work, public service, and worshiping God. My family history can be traced to England in 1260. At the time, we were called de Wessington, but later we were referred to as Washington. Selgrave Manor in England is regarded as the home of my ancestors.
What kind of education did you have?
Well, I went to school in Fredericksburg, Virginia, when my parents moved there. I had about 8 years of schooling. My favorite subject was arithmetic. I wrote in ink on heavy paper, and my mother sewed the papers into notebooks. I studied enough history and geography to know something of the world. I was about 14 or 15 when my schooling ended. I could keep business accounts, write clear letters, and do some simple figuring. However, I did not have the education in literature and foreign languages and history as did Thomas Jefferson and James Madison. They had the advantage of a much more formal education.
What was your favorite pastime as a young gentleman?
Some say I was an expert dancer. I wrote love poems. I enjoyed hunting and fishing on the Rappahannock River and swimming and boating.
History has recorded History has recorded your character as a quiet, sober, attentive, and dignified person. Who would you give credit to for the development of your character?
My mother. As a schoolboy, I copied rules from a book, an exercise book. And here are a few of the rules. Number 1, use no reproachful language against anyone, neither curse nor revile. Number 2, play not the peacock. To see if your clothes are well decked, or your stockings sit neatly, or your clothes handsomely. And number 3, it's unbecoming to stoop to one's meat. Keep your fingers clean, and when foul, wipe them on the corner of your table napkin.
How did you become interested in surveying?
Well, at 15 years of age, I took my father's old set of survey instruments, and I began to make money by an assistant to the other surveyors in the locality. And I took my surveyor's oath at William and Mary. Surveying was one of the few jobs in colonial times that paid cash.
Your half-brother, Lawrence, was a Virginia militia captain and served in Central America for Great Britain. Did his tales and war stories influence your desire for military life?
Oh, yes. I wanted to join the British Navy, but my mother would not allow it. And at that time, I needed her permission.
At the age of 20, you applied to the governor for a commission in the Virginia militia. In February, you were commissioned as a major and put in charge of training militia in the Southern Virginia. What training did you have?
None. I immediately began reading books of military tactics and military affairs. After a number of campaigns in the wilderness, I was promoted to lieutenant colonel at the age of 22.
At the age of 26, you returned to Virginia to hang up your sword. At this time, you were known as the most famous American-born soldier and married Martha Dandridge Custis on the 6th of January, 1759. For the next 16 years, you enjoyed happiness at Mount Vernon. What did you do for recreation on the plantation?
Oh, we went hunting, fishing, of course dancing, and we liked to ride horseback. And on the greatest of social occasions, fox hunting.
When were you elected as the commander-in-chief?
That was the 16th of June, 1775. But I did not think myself equal to the command I was honored with. The Revolutionary War was hard on us all. On occasions, my soldiers had no boots, food, or ammunition, blankets, or clothing. I praised them for their faithfulness to the ideal of freedom for the colonies. In 1783, a treaty was finally signed with Great Britain in Paris, France.
In 1783, you spent Christmas at Mount Vernon with Martha. The war had aged you, and you now wore glasses. As you told your officers, I have grown gray in your service and now find myself growing blind. For the next 5 years, you enjoyed the life of a Virginia planter. You started new farming methods, which were ahead of your time. You began breeding mules, introducing rotation of crops, using waste materials from your fishing industry as fertilizer, and you also took steps to prevent soil erosion. In 1787, you were chosen to head the Virginia delegates at Independence Hall in Philadelphia. Can you describe your welcome upon arrival in Philadelphia?
The people cheered, and the bells of the city were rung.
You were then elected to the president of the convention. After many debates, enough of the states approved the article of the Constitution, and on the 4th of February, 1789, you were elected as the first president of the United States of America. Is it true that the army wanted the monarchy and you to be the king?
Yes, but I ordered Colonel Nicholas Nicola to banish these thoughts from your head.
Is it true you threw a coin across the river?
Yes, in my youth, I threw a shilling across the Rappahannock. But in older times, in later times, I threw a sovereign across the Atlantic.
This time we'll end with the question and the answering. Also, I would like everyone to give 3 rounds of hurrahs for George. Would you please rise? Hip, hip. Hooray! Hip, hip. Hurrah! Hip, hip. Hurrah! Okay, also while we're standing, let's sing Happy Birthday to George. Happy birthday